Hello and welcome to a new podcast by Discontent, but more fundamentally by me, Aditya Khanna, and my very good friend from college. Sorry, no,
School.
from school. My very good friend from school, Shaunak Odavkar. Shaunak, say hi.
Hello.
Shaunak, I'm gonna give this another round. Okay, just cut the goofiness. I would like to welcome my friend Shaunak Odavkar.
Hey, this is Shaunak.
Okay,
See, I consume too much of the internet, so mera just naturally the bullshit just comes out, and I consume like some of the most fuck all parts of the internet.
so that is essentially what the podcast is gonna be about. The two of us, we're friends in school, as I told you, and we discuss news and politics and just normal bullshittery, like all of you, I'm sure, do if any of you all have friends. Which I feel like if you are listening to podcasts, you probably don't. But so we do that a lot, and we thought, might as well sort of try this out in a podcast format. And we're just trying this new podcast. It's called BORED-GEOISIE because the two of us are bored people, members of the bourgeoisie. And if you like that pun, then you can subscribe to our channel and like this video or this audio wherever you're listening or watching this. At the same time, we just like to tell you guys that while we will be discussing politics and news and whatever happened in that week of news, we are not all qualified. We are not journalists. We're definitely not politicians. Neither do we aspire to be.
No,
Yeah.
we don't. We might aspire to be. I don't know. I feel like it might be in my future.
Shaunak has the right look for it, and if possible, I will attach a photo of him, how he looks right now with a tika on his forehead and a nice beard.
I also keep a mustache sometimes, and power attracts me. So
Power does attract Shaunak, but that should be for another podcast. But let's actually just start off, and let's start off what happened in this week of news. A lot happened actually. So our first piece of news, would you like to introduce us to, Shaunak?
तो NDTV might get bought by Adani. तो हुआ क्या?
नहीं, अभी हो गया ना?
नहीं, they haven't. So that's what I wanted to explain कि it's not that easy. वो थोड़ा complex होता है, and in the modern economy, and because this actually comes in as slightly qualified experience as a lawyer कि वो जो agreements बनते हैं shares के खरीदने के, वो थोड़े complex रहते हैं. So they aren't directly buying NDTV. वो लोग एक promoter company को खरीद रहे हैं. तो promoter मतलब they basically own a part of the company. और वो promoter company में they are buying a 99.5% stake.
99.5%.
99.5 or 99.9.
That promoter company owned 29% stake.
They
in
own
NDTV.
29%.
So by
correct.
extension,
they are buying NDTV. They're buying NDTV और वो लोग पे मतलब काफी वो लोग कंट्रोल तो कर पाएंगे एक्सरसाइज.
Right.
बट प्रॉब्लम क्या हुआ था कि दिस प्रमोटर कंपनी हैड बेसिकली टेकन अ लोन फ्रॉम अ सब्सिडरी ऑफ अडानी. तो अगेन उधर भी काफी लेयर्स आ रहे हैं. इट्स वी आर अबाउट 3 layers डीप फ्रॉम द मेन अडानी एंटरप्राइज का ये कि दिस सब्सिडरी कंपनी हैड लोन्ड सम 400 crores टू एनडीटीवी. क्योंकि मतलब वो एनडीटीवी हैपेंस टू बी द न्यूट्रल, लाइक यू वुड ऑलमोस्ट कॉल इट बोरिंग इन अ सेंस.
You would call it.
बोरिंग, बट आई थिंक दैट्स हाउ न्यूज शुड बी. थोड़ा इन्फॉर्मेशन चाहिए. तो वो लोग न्यूट्रल थे, तो वो लोग के रेवेन्यूज गिर गए थे. वो लोग ने 400 crore का लोन लिया था.
I don't think उनके revenues गिरे थे क्योंकि वो लोग न्यूट्रल थे. I think NDTV was the day the Congress lost power. I'm not saying they were like, I'm not going into that whole thing of
2009, 2010. So the Congress was there still.
fuck, they were not profitable even with the Congress in power.
तो मैं बोरिंग इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि इवन इफ यू सी द डिबेट्स ऑन एनडीटीवी टुडे, वो लोग काफी काम रहते हैं. मतलब 4 जन रहते हैं और एक टाइम पे एक आदमी बात करता है. देयर इज वेरी लिटिल ग्राफिक एंड यू सॉर्ट ऑफ टुक प्राइड इन दैट.
Basically news, how it should be.
I worked at NDTV for a while briefly.
Oh yes, we have to also go into that. तू अदानी का दल्ला बनने से बच गया basically because you left. What was your role at NDTV and when did you work there for our listeners?
Okay. तो ड्यूरिंग कॉलेज आई वर्क देयर ऑन अ टेम्पररी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर 3 months. तो मैं अडानी का दल्ला वैसे भी नहीं बनने वाला था. But
because to be a dalla you have to be paid and I don't think you were paid well.
No, I was paid decently. हाँ, मैं प्रोड्यूसर के रोल में था बेसिकली. तो जो भी न्यूज़ का बैक एंड रहता है कि ड्राइविंग आउट फुटेज एंड गेटिंग ऑल ऑफ दैट टुगेदर, वो मेरा काम रहता था. लाइक बीइंग अ लिंक बिटवीन द जर्नलिस्ट, द एडिटर्स, पुटिंग इट ऑन टीवी, ऑल ऑफ दैट. तो वही है बेसिकली. तो हाँ, तो वो लोग ने 400 crore लिया था 2009-2010 में. नाउ हियर्स व्हाट इज इंटरेस्टिंग. ओके, कि जिस कंपनी से वो लोग ने 400 करोड़ लिया था, VCPL, सम विश्ववर्धन समथिंग लाइक दैट, वाज फॉर्मली ओन्ड बाय द अंबानीज, मतलब वाया वाया करके.
This is what's there in that News Laundry article also, no? Where they talk about how first Reliance tried to grab it and then
करेक्ट. तो लोन अग्रीमेंट भी बनता है. तो जब अग्रीमेंट्स बनते हैं, व्हेन यू गिव अ लॉट ऑफ मनी टू बिटवीन कंपनीज, यू ऑल्सो हैव द ऑप्शन टू बाय समथिंग मोर लेटर ऑन, थिंग्स लाइक दैट. तो उसमें रहते हैं छोटे मोटे क्लॉजेस. तो दे आर एक्टिंग ऑन दिस वन क्लॉज विच सेड दैट if you buy a certain amount of shares, if you transfer a certain amount of money, you will be valid to buy this subsidiary company जो RRPR Holdings करके है, which is the NDTV का promoter. तो वो agreement के basis पे Adani has just outright transferred money into this RRPR's bank account and said अभी तू I'm exercising this option based on this agreement in 2009-2010 and now I'm buying you. तो जो मिनिमल अमाउंट, टोकन अमाउंट जो तू बोल सकता है उसके हिसाब से. अब प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है कि इट इज स्टिल हॉस्टाइल, सो यू विल स्टिल नीड अनदर अग्रीमेंट इन प्लेस टू शो, बिकॉज 2 करोड़ में तो ये कंपनी नहीं खरीद सकता विच इज ओनिंग लाइक वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट न्यूज चैनल्स इन द कंट्री, और उसने 2 करोड़ ही कुछ ट्रांसफर किया बेस्ड ऑन द फेस वैल्यू ऑफ द शेयर. तो अगेन दिस
क्या चिंदीगिरी है लेकिन खाली 2 करोड़ दिया.
तो ये बनता है ना, सो दैट बिकम्स लाइक द टोकन ट्रिगरिंग अमाउंट. तो ये मतलब यू आर गोइंग इनटू द डेप्थ ऑफ लाइक
2 crore isn't even a down payment on like a अंधेरी का फ्लैट, like a 3 BHK में भी ज्यादा डाउन पेमेंट लगेगा.
हाँ बट तो हाँ अडानी माइट बाय एनडीटीवी, बट अभी वो सेबी वेबी का भी आ रहा है. तो सेबी रेगुलेटरी बॉडी है वो. आई थिंक इफ एनी ऑफ यू ऑल नो और डोंट नो, इज जस्ट अ रेगुलेटरी बॉडी दैट ओवरलुक्स द एक्सचेंजेस ऑफ सिक्योरिटीज, मतलब योर फाइनेंशियल प्रोडक्ट्स.
स्कैम मैंने भी देखा है. चल
हाँ वही अच्छा सॉरी भूल गया. हाँ तो तुम लोग ने स्कैम देखा रहेगा ना, तो दैट मेक्स एवरीबडी इज वर्क ईजर. तो सेबी का अप्रूवल बाकी है अभी, एंड बाकी के जो फाउंडर्स हैं एनडीटीवी के, राधिका रॉय, प्रणॉय राय द जर्नलिस्ट, वो लोग का भी कुछ सीन आता है कि दे आर ऑल्सो इन ट्रबल विद एनडीटीवी. तो एनीवे एनडीटीवी का शेयर का रेट बढ़ गया अभी.
आफ्टर अदानी
का थिंग. एंड अनदर रीजन आई थिंक व्हाई अदानी बॉट दीज गाइज इज कि रिसेंटली दिलों को न्यूज आर्टिकल से प्रॉब्लम हुआ था.
They were talking about how deeply leveraged Adani Group is, right?
करेक्ट. वो भी, और वो न्यूज लॉन्ड्री के आर्टिकल में एक और था कि 2016 में भी ऑल्सो सम न्यूज केम आउट और ये लोग के शेयर्स गिरे थे. सो आई थिंक नाउ दे आर जस्ट सेइंग कि एक काम करते हैं, अपने शेयर्स गिरने से बेटर है हम लोग ही बोल देते कि नहीं कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, हम लोग सब सही है.
नहीं, correct. I actually thought this is all the technical stuff about Adani, like buying out NDTV. First of all of media today in India, it's like how much are you willing to like suck up to power, you know? Like it's just a degree of that. And NDTV largely was like trying to stay neutral in that sense, whereas everyone else, like India Today is the funniest in that sense, because India Today is just like BJP great, but you know like it's just a very weird kind of relationship.
See, but you can be you can be idealistic and you can be liberal, but point है कि all of these businesses, no, they're deeply entrenched with the institutional investors and things like that, और वो आता है, like that's been probably going on since years, ever since the economy opened up. अब for all you call NDTV independent और neutral, वो लोग को जब पैसों का प्रॉब्लम पड़ता था, they would do like these half an hour segment shows on these various companies and charge money.
I realized they were in the last year. This is how I knew NDTV might have money troubles. Okay, I don't know. I don't like watch cable TV at all, but like on YouTube or whatever, they were doing shows on crypto. Like they had a whole massive segment on crypto. This was during the crypto boom.
Yeah, and it's possible it was financed by one of these.
What do you mean if it's possible? Of course it was. Uska naam tha.
Right.
So it was like a sponsored program. So I'm saying clearly they're not very good at business. And what I want to ask you actually is, like in this new avatar, let's say this deal goes through with Adani buying. Adani has now bought NDTV, and Mr. Adani decides what goes on, let's say 9 p.m. news. Okay, by extension, what do you think will be the new face of NDTV? Will it be India Today, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or will it be Times Now, Republic ki we are who we are, fuck you, we are fucking idiots, but that we love it like that.
See, I don't know what Gautam the Goat decides.
Gautam the Goat.
Like, so it's very difficult to say what will happen, because then your Radhika Roy and Pranoy Roy are known as like slightly fierce journalists, and NDTV has that thing about them. So you can hope that they keep their character at least to some extent, and the max that happens is that they do some produce shows for Adani and like a little bit of sucking up to Adani so that they don't lose out on share value. but honestly you don't know, and like why would you even be surprised at this point? Like I've totally
No, I also will. Do you also think it will be relevant? Matlab, in the world of, where everyone is pretty much getting news on WhatsApp or on YouTube or on social media. I mean, TV is a declining force in the first place. Matlab, irrespective of this going through or whatever, it is generally, and it's not like NDTV was fucking, winning that game anyway. So, do you really think, do you think it's a loss for progressive or liberal media? Or do you think this is just a long time coming and it will continue? Like there will be like Ravish might open a YouTube channel, as people are joking about these days.
like it might be a loss ideologically, yes, but then it might also be like a revival for the TV news game because now it will become competitive. Because sorry,
Abani. Abani is like the more. Wait, this is like that.
Abani is the Liger of businessmen.
This is like, in that WWE meme is there, no, with Vince McMahon like turning out, wait till this one shows up. So it's like Adani and Amani when Abani shows up. Abani. Good one.
So Ambani has already entered the news game a little bit because they own the TV18 news network. So uske saath there might be a revival, but like if you're expecting liberal progressive news, I think you're asking for too much. But even today, like TV news is not very relevant to begin with. In 20 years, when our dad stop watching TV news entirely, it's going to die out.
Correct.
So bas utna hi meko bolna.
Okay. I think this is enough on this segment, sort of,
Yeah.
So basically, to conclude on NDTV and Adani buyout is, ठीक है कर लो. मतलब you've got our blessing. You've got our blessing. If anyone is looking for our signature on any document, we are willing to show up between the hours of 8 and 9. Let's move on to our next topic. What was our next topic?
Student debt in the US.
Student debt in the US. Karza Maafi has happened by Biden. Karza Maafi has been allowed by Biden in the US, and I believe it is up to $10,000 or so. What is the exact nature of that? Do you remember that, or should I look this up?
तू देख ले, but जहाँ तक मेरे को मालूम है, he's not taken out an executive order. So Brandon, as they're calling him right now, and who's also being called Dank Brandon, he didn't use an executive order. He took out some actual legislation in 2003 to waive student loans. तो 10,000 और 20,000 का ये, it's I think 20,000 with some grants which is for underprivileged people and 10,000 without some grants.
Okay. So I'm just like reading this out from a news report that Joe Biden on Wednesday announced his long-awaited plan to deliver on a campaign promise to provide $10,000 in student debt cancellation for millions of Americans and up to $10,000 more for those with the greatest financial need, basically. And borrowers who earn less than $125,000 a year or families earning less than $250,000 a year would be eligible for the $10,000 loan forgiveness, Biden announced in a tweet. So, I mean, this is something there's this Twitch caster that I follow who's very popular. He's like a leftist sort of guy. His name is Hassan Abi. I don't know if you guys know him. But he's like fully left, and he keeps talking about this phrase which kind of stuck with me, where he said America is not a first world. Like if you take the colloquial understanding of first world, I don't want anyone fucking commenting. Actually, first world is that supported, like not that shit. But in the colloquial understanding, America is not a first world country. It is a third world country with a Gucci belt. And I feel like if in the richest country of the world, you have like student debt where people are literally like just sadak pe aa rahe, because like in America, there's nothing worse than if you're like a black pregnant woman in the South who likes to study and also gets a cut on her arm. Like that alone, like you will just die immediately, like just give up on life, because it's like medical debt, student debt, like that kind of shit actually puts people. मतलब वो India में भी होता है. But at least there is some, we're not a rich country, so we don't have that kind of facility to give in the first place. But there is some attempt, by government hospitals, government schools at least.
But again, the problem यहाँ पे वही आता है. You can't compare really, because as people living in the city, we have access to decent colleges and all. City के बाहर यार हालत खराब होती है. So which is why you had students going to the Ukraine and all in the first place. So we should be nobody really to comment on the American debt crisis, although I agree that
Chalo, done then. We're not talking.
no. मेरे को इंटरेस्टिंग क्या लगा is what the White House has done on Twitter. So a lot of these Republican representatives, whoever complained against student loan debt and fuck you and you're getting other people to pay for these idiot liberal students and जो भी वो लोग को मेहनत नहीं करने का है. So the White House actually quote tweeted them and took out the exact loan waiver amount जो उनको मिला है.
Ooh, dude, that is fucking epic.
The screenshots of that.
हाँ, even I saw there's this really fucking crazy alt-right guy called Steven Crowder और उसका loan debt भी दिखाया लोगों ने.
मतलब for example,
Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah, she's like she's उधर की कोई मतलब what is the crazy right-wing lady in India?
Nupur Sharma. She's basically
Nupur Sharma of America, kind of. Huh. So basically, there was a statement by Republican representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene said for our government just to say, okay, your debt is completely forgiven, it's completely unfair, is what she said. The White House quote tweeted a random non-verified account and said Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene had $183,000 in PPP loans forgiven. What are PPP loans?
Paycheck Protection Program.
Which is?
ऐसा मेरे को लगता है सैलरी के लिए they get like some loans and stuff like that. मेरे को I didn't read a lot about that because it wasn't so much the technicalities that bothered me. Okay, मतलब I don't think you should consider the US as a standard today, which we do a lot of times and use like a lot of US examples in our arguments also.
I'll tell you why.
But my whole thing was कि I thought it was just like a really baller move कि तुमने कोट ट्वीट भी कर दिया, बोल दिया ये अमाउंट है तो तू चुप बैठो भाई.
Okay, so they did this to like multiple people. Like pretty much every Republican who was sort of shitting on this, the White House has quote tweeted all of them with the exact 2.3 million, 4 million, 1 million. That's a lot. So I think America is just, I think why people keep America as a standard is they like in the post 91 in the neoliberal sort of world economy, they own the whole game essentially. Yeah. And that's why, and even culturally, they have set the standard of, I mean, to appreciate America on one thing, they have set the standard on what counts for liberties and freedoms on like, for example, most subversive when it comes to freedom of speech, the flip of it being the freedom to bear arms. So, like, they have set the standard for that, and most countries are somewhere on the middle of these things, where most countries will have
a misconception because the standard on freedom of speech was actually France.
Okay,
liberty, equality, fraternity, democracy, all of it, most of it came from France. The political ideas,
but they don't speak English, so that's why fuck them. Why I'm saying is why America is kept as a standard. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. So basically, America didn't invent shit. Yeah. They just took everything from nice things from everywhere and
marketed it better. The marketing वो लोग ने अच्छा किया. वो जो capitalism होता है.
Which is that old joke, right? That America has never gone to war with a country which had a McDonald's store in it.
वो disprove हो गया लेकिन there have been about 7-8 instances since that whole thing.
This whole podcast is just me sounding like a dumb fuck and Shauna correct. But which are these countries?
नहीं, for example, India Pakistan wasn't the first one. India Pakistan के पहले भी हुआ है. Ukraine Russia हुआ है.
Oh no, I know. No, that's the thing that two countries that have McDonald's haven't. No, I was saying America has not gone to war with a country which has had McDonald's in it.
But वो भी Afghanistan में.
Afghanistan में was there a McDonald's?
एक तो है.
What do you think they serve in McDonald's? What is a Happy Meal?
Bullets. I don't know. Because I haven't read enough on Afghanistan apart from watching Kabul Express.
Which was a great movie.
It was a great movie.
John Abraham's time of when he was still experimenting.
Correct, you're right. Kabul Express was a great movie, and which is why I think the US shouldn't have invaded Afghanistan. But right now there is one McDonald's functioning in Kabul apparently, and it's being operated by these US Army veterans.
It's being operated by them क्योंकि उनको और कोई काम नहीं मिल रहा है लाइफ में.
मतलब वो लोग they're sort of holding that bastion of American. I think they sort of were protecting the embassy के पास में ऐसा कुछ तो बहुत ये पढ़ा मैंने. I read very conflicting reports. The reason they're saying that the White House did all this quote tweeting is there is a new lady, like a young girl from New Jersey has joined the White House social media team. और New Jersey में मालूम है तेरे को कौन आता है?
Tony Soprano.
The American version of Kalin Bhaiya.
He's Kalin Bhaiya into 100. He's Sardar Khan into 100. Matlab he's literally, Sardar Khan is literally Tony Soprano, no? Has sex a lot, has problems at home.
But Sardar Khan never went to therapy. So like Tony Soprano is not that toxic.
What do you think Durga was doing in her off time? So basically, in conclusion on the student debt thing, it gets a check of approval from us.
Yeah, and we would like to see more government bodies just going apeshit on Twitter.
Yeah, that is something that I think all of us want. Like, if your government isn't taking care of you, at least they can give you some banger ass tweets, you know, and that is something that is always appreciated. It is, I think it's a very cool thing to have happened. You also agree. I know your politics. First of all, this also clarifies our politics in general in life. We don't want to, as long as people are doing good things for people without us have to get out of our houses. That's what my politics is.
That is true. We went to anti-NRA CA protests and we've gone to the IAC.
Anti-NRA नहीं, NRA America का गन एसोसिएशन, NRC and CA. तो हाँ.
Sorry, we went to anti-NRC CA protests and we went to IAC protests and we did not have a great time.
Yeah. I actually should. Now that you mentioned IAC, I don't know if Shaunak will remember. This is from back in the day, 2011, when we were in school, college-ish, like we were in 11th grade, and this is how we joined. This is how one IAC protest, and this is when, I don't know if you guys remember, IAC in the beginning had a lot of people, and then there was one rally called in Mumbai at MMRDA, and nobody showed up. And that was sort of a fail. And after that, it was started sort of dimming until the whole Aam Aadmi Party thing happened. So when it was dimming, there was one rally that was happening in Juhu, near Juhu in Ville Parle, outside Mithibai College. Now, that was a very small rally, like almost nobody. Okay? And there was, Shaunak and I were in line to get into this festival where there was some college festival happening in Mithibai, and we were in line, and there were these hundreds of kids, like these boys and the girls on the other side, and they were sort of queued up to get in. After some point, the organizers were like, it's first come first serve, so we can't take anybody. Just as this announcement was being made, from the corner came like 40 really idealistic old people who were in the IAC protest, and all of us who had just gotten free and had the next 2 hours free in life, and we were all in fucking party clothes ready to listen to KK or like fucking whoever fucking must be playing at that point. Euphoria, it must be.
Not by default. That, it was like college level DJs. War of the DJs.
War of the DJs type.
You were excited to do that.
So clearly, if you were excited for that, we got this entire fucking testosterone charged bunch of boys joined the ISA and was like, "Anna, sare aage badho." Like everyone started fucking yelling, and we just joined that protest, and then we just walked our way home from there. Like that was basically our contribution to the political change in this country. Anyway, good one on you, Brandon. Now we can go to next topic.
तेरे को मालूम है राहुल गांधी का cousin है. He was a part of a rock band called Hanson. Hanson is a famous 90s pop rock band. Like there were 3 brothers, and this cousin was like an honorary guitarist. His name is Ravi Hati Singh, and he's the grandson or the great grandson of Jawaharlal Nehru's sister.
Oh, is it that sister जिसके photo ये लोग बार-बार viral करते थे right wing वाले WhatsApp पे?
हो सकता है. So basically, this lady married like a businessman, the founder of the Swatantra Party.
Right.
उसका जो बेटा था, he became like a huge ass capitalist in the States, and he founded like one of the biggest investment firms and stuff. And his son like is like a rock star diplomat and like an athlete and stuff. तो
और उसका cousin देखो किधर गलियों में सड़ रहा है.
मैं वही बोल रहा था कि यार these guys are actually quite cool if they wanted to be, but they put on that fake like rustic thing so much. It doesn't work.
Which clearly means that every family has one person, okay, who like, I'm talking about like families which have some wealth and which have some generational advantages and upper caste and all those things. But normally in these situations, there'll be one person who doesn't make it in anything and just like not doing, and everybody else is sort of overachieving. So Rahul Gandhi is that cousin.
But even then, I was looking at his lineage also. Like, so basically, I was listening to another podcast, और उसमें because they were talking about Nehru, I randomly decided to see where they came from. Dude, they've got their presence documented in the country since 1857, like rebellion के time से. which is when Motilal Nehru's father apparently moved to Agra and things like that.
Oh, that is this thing, no? That is fake news. वो Wikipedia पे तभी से किसने that some Ghiauddin something. वो that is all fake.
No, वो मालूम है मेरे को. This is
I was just wondering if you fell for that.
No, not that. But he basically moved to Agra or Lucknow during the 1857 rebellion because Motilal Nehru's father was posted in Delhi as a cop for Bahadur Shah Zafar's court, by the way.
Okay.
So because the English fired back in the rebellion, they had to leave. And so तब से वो लोग का lineage जाते जा रहा है. And I was very interested to know कि his cousin today is basically was like a rock star and stuff like that. A legit rock star. मतलब he was a guitarist. He's toured with those guys also. एक दो कोई tours किए उसने. So I was very intrigued to know that the family actually has like a lot of stuff to be proud of. And
Rahul Gandhi goes to those concerts and asks for free tickets. Basically, that is the situation. But this is a great segue. Thank you, Shaunak, for that little tidbit of information. And we can go into Rahul Gandhi once again. Our man is back. He has now fallen into trouble again, which is latest news. Actually, this happened today, the day we are recording. Ghulam Nabi Azad has quit Congress and said Rahul Gandhi demolished party's consultative mechanism. And he said Rahul Gandhi is immature, he's embarrassing, he's a fucking loser. All of these things were said by Ghulam Nabi Azad. And just echoing what everyone pretty much feels, he wrote a 5-page letter to party president Sonia Gandhi. Dude, imagine if there is a 5-page letter. How can you fill up 5 pages with somebody who's like, this guy is so shitty, this guy sucks so much, I hate him, I hate his guts, I hate how he looks. Like, how much do you fill up? And he said he's like, it all started when he tore that thing. Remember when they were in power and he was having his own disagreements with Manmohan and when he was being launched as vice president and all that stuff.
So I actually didn't know too much about Ghulam Nabi Azad, and here's why. Because whenever I hear the name Ghulam Nabi Azad, I think, fuck, that's the most pre-1947 name ever.
Yeah, Ghulam Nabi Azad sounds like a freedom fighter.
Like, why you called Ghulam Nabi Azad in 2022, right? That's the most like Khan Abdul Ghafoor Khan name. It's like such a Sarojini Naidu name. Like, why you called Ghulam Nabi Azad today? It's so distracting. I can't. If I consume any information about this man, I can't retain it because I just go off on a pre-1947 tangent.
And the Ghulam Nabi Azad, the name is so heavy that even Modi cried when he was leaving parliament. He was like, this don't feel right, man. Modi was like in the other party and he's like, that happened, right?
I told you, I remember nothing about this man.
No, so Ghulam Nabi, this is true. When he was leaving Rajya Sabha, when his recent term ended and he was sort of retiring from that, Modi gave a speech and he cried. Modi started crying, saying that I love you, Ghulam. I love you so much. You're a great guy. And he was basically said at some point, there was some terrorist attack in Kashmir where Ghulam Nabi Azad's from, and when there were some Gujaratis attacked in Kashmir, which I don't want to go into right now. But
that was foreshadowing for the Kashmir files.
So there were some Gujaratis and Modi said that when he was CM, Ghulam Nabi Azad came and assured him that, I will take care of everybody and I'll make sure there's no discrimination. I'll make sure. Basically, Modi felt bad that, fuck, ye to maine bhi nahi kiya. Like, he's like, this guy is just epic, dude. So, that guy he's one of the tallest leaders of the Congress party, not just in stature, but also literally. He's quite tall, if you've seen the guy. So we're just going off on Ghulam Nabi Azad. But now he's out of the party and he's basically said that this party is going nowhere. And it's true. I mean, I want to bring to you this, Shaunak. Like, would you rather, I'm saying as somebody who I know doesn't like right-wing politics and we are both progressive-ish on things, or that's at least what we like to tell you guys. So, I mean, would you rather see Congress revive now, or would you want to see, say someone like obviously an Aam Aadmi Party or anybody else sort of take that opposition space? Would you rather have one of, which one would you prefer? Ki Rahul Gandhi comes back as a stud, or or these guys just fucking die out now?
So yeah, Congress, I wouldn't mind either coming back as long as there is. If you have the Congress coming back, you need like the more vocal leaders of the Congress coming back, the Congress of the heyday, which so many of these older, if your older relatives ever told you about how they were all Congress people, because when they were growing up and when they were our age, the Congress was the party to look forward to because you had all these intellectuals and all of that. And right now you have Rahul Gandhi who can't even handle getting caught at a club in Kathmandu. Like, why aren't you just owning up to that? So in either case, I wouldn't mind like a more intellectual class making a comeback to the country because it's that is the only thing that is trickling down. The inclination towards religion is trickling down, and I'll give you an example of a very ridiculous place that I found it in. But before that, I think the thinkers need to come back, and it's a very like basic requirement कि थोड़ा political discourse better होना चाहिए.
No, I get what you're saying. No, so I get what you're saying that the discourse needs to be better because at this point, though, we're going no. At this point, the discourse is who is getting arrested for remarks on Prophet Muhammad and who is currently like, who is selling liquor at a lower price and like in Gujarat and Delhi, whatever's going on between Aam Aadmi Party and BJP. But I mean, it is what I'm scared of personally is ki in like whatever little independent history India has had, we've had the Congress party rule for majority of it. Approximately, like let's say, I'm saying in terms of full proper control by a Gandhi
Correct.
or by a leader of the Congress, like a Congress president full on, it's about 60 odd years, 50, 60 odd years.
Correct.
Right? And in that time period, I mean, I just don't want it to become that BJP properly replaces Congress with their own politics, but with the same style, and just becomes that and there for the next 50 years, you know? And that's what I'm scared of. So do you think that might happen? Because now if all these tall leaders are quitting the party or the Congress party and there is no opposition, and like what I'm trying to ask you is, would you prefer Arvind Kejriwal to come and sort of take that spot? Or do you think that would be a fix to this?
Yeah, I think that would be better. I think you need to have one party which dies out very openly and publicly and goes out in a flame, just so that people get
some closure.
Get a little jolt also कि यार देख, this can happen to a party because you have this juggernaut coming your way.
Also closure, na. I feel like when Congress dies, I think it's very important because it's like वो loop बनता है, like it's just an imagination. It's like, okay, if Congress is no longer on the table, like people also take Congress for granted, na. ये तो है ही. Which Congress also, like right now, the Gandhis also are clearly taking that for granted कि हम तो हैं ही, that eventually these guys will fuck up and we'll be in power. Rahul Gandhi is young, so it's not like he has a lot of young, matlab, he's like 50 plus, but he has like 20-30 more years that he can be in active politics. So I guess they were banking on that. But if they die, it'll be collective conscience mein everyone will know that, okay, we do not have a national opposition. We don't have a progressive representation against BJP's politics. And I do think that once that happens, it will give that jolt, as you said, and that closure. Okay, inka ho gaya time, the grand old party is gone.
No, they're all but dead anyways. Wo Swatantra party has died out and they were, I think, the original Indian Republicans, so to speak. I was reading about them also a little bit. So they also wanted like a free market economy to prevail and they wanted to liberalize and everything much earlier. But these guys died out. So basically, ये होता है कि parties can die out. And if you come, way ahead, if you come slightly before your time, or before your time becomes like a relative thing, statement over here, वो लोग ready होने चाहिए तेरे लिए. And BJP तो आ रहा है, मतलब वो bulldoze कर रहा है. You saw it in Maharashtra, it's happening in Jharkhand, it's happening in Bihar. वो लोग मतलब that is where the whole Bihar government, they sort of, they happen to be one step ahead of the BJP there, but that is what they were talking about, कि the BJP wants to finish them off also. So you need a strong opposition. If AAP can be that great, if the Congress can be that great, basically you need more than 2 to 3 options there. You need 3-4 options. You can't have a 2-party system.
In India, though, definitely not.
And you can't have them be 2 sides of the same coin also. You need more choices. Like, I don't think we have enough options to that spans the entire political spectrum also. Like you have like slightly left of right, and then you have the centrists, and that's about it.
You have Ambedkarite parties also, but like again, it's all a little
वो
muddled up.
mainstream में नहीं enter किया ना. They haven't entered the mainstream consciousness yet. Like I don't remember when if an RPI style party join
Or a BSP.
हाँ महाराष्ट्र में RPI है. If RPI hasn't taken power in a while, BSP did take power, which is promising, which is good also. But I think overall, again, the whole two sides of the same coin applies. But I think I can be wrong because I haven't lived in a BSP ruled state or anything. तो कुछ उस पे किसी को not inside information. If you have like first hand experiences about why that was better or worse, so feel free to tell us about that also.
Correct. Great stuff. So congratulations to Mr. Ghulam and Nabi Azad on leaving the party, and clearly like, you know, this is like a dying startup. Like everyone can, सब लोग आगे थप्पड़ मार के आ सकते हैं. You know, जिसको भी quit करना है.
They're all but dead anyway. Like the Congress is all but dead.
Correct. Like they're like, at this point, you know, at certain points, मतलब whenever you see politicians right on TV, and you see somebody like a Kejriwal, or you see a Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Hemanta Biswa Sarma, Devendra Fadnavis, etc., or Uddhav Thackeray, you see these people, Mamata Banerjee, like I feel like, you know, somebody like me or anybody that I know cannot do this, what they're doing. I don't know their real job, but even what they do in front of the public, the giving a speech or giving or replying back to somebody in parliament, or you know, making a statement on news media, capturing, like I can tell that I don't know a single person who could do this, who could do that job. With Rahul Gandhi, I think the problem is that literally everybody feels that they can do a better job of this. That if I was given 10-15 years to prepare and given that, say, I can do this, like I am 100% sure कि कुछ ना कुछ तो इससे better करते. Like it 100% wouldn't be this bad. Okay, maybe I'm not saying we would be better than him, but I'm saying we'd be better than him. Like, you know what I'm saying. So basically, shit or get off the pot. It's about time. Fuck off. You have no space over here. Please get out. Please leave. Thank you very much. Was it a little much?
I see that you're slightly emotionally invested in the Congress.
I'm not emotionally invested in the Congress. I am emotionally invested in Rahul Gandhi failing. I'm too tired of seeing fucking no good hacks get to the top for no reason.
But I feel like his heart might be in the right place, and you know why? Because like his hairline's still fine, and that's how I judge people nowadays. Like you see Devendra Fadnavis, you see Eknath Shinde, they've got great hairlines, man. So I think maybe they're in the right place somewhere. Uddhav Thackeray, not so much. His hairline got fucked over the...
I also think that there is some, I mean, despite everything that I said, there is some merit in the idea, however selfish and fucked up that thought is, that wait for sort of Modi to get old and get to a point where BJP has to choose somebody else, and maybe Rahul Gandhi will have a better shot against number 2, right? Where I do think that if say an election is between Amit Shah and Rahul Gandhi, I think Rahul Gandhi has a fighting chance over there. Not because he's a better operator, but because even I've heard from the most hardcore Modi supporters that they can't stand to look at Amit Shah's face. You know, like he looks like he is that caricature of the Indian sort of shady politician, right?
That's true. And वो बीच में तू ही बोल रहा था कि there was some fallout between them also. Like there was some point where people were saying कि there is, and I also have it on like unconfirmed sources कि मतलब basically the equivalent of a Bollywood blind item, that there was a lot of trouble in Paradise, and there is friction in the BJP top brass right now.
No, yeah, I mean, I got this information from like, I saw this, which was damn funny to me. Okay, I saw this video of the governor of Meghalaya, or he was the governor of Kashmir at one point, Satyapal Malik. He was a former BJP member, and he sort of had said that when the farmers' agitation was happening, because he comes from Western UP, he was trying to tell Modi to not take these farm laws decisions and all that, and he approached Modi. And he told him that, you know, don't do this stuff. And Modi didn't listen to him. And outside that meeting, apparently Amit Shah told him like, because Modi apparently scrimped at this guy also. So he told Amit Shah after the meeting, trying to console Satyapal Malik, said कि अरे please आप रहने दो, आप हमको बताते रहे, पता नहीं इसकी मत मारी गई है, पता नहीं कौन इसके कान भर रहा है. Like the equivalent of what my grandma says about me every other day is what Amit Shah was saying about Modi. Do you think Modi is senile?
He could be. I don't know. I'm not sure because again, his hairline was recent.
His hairline and the beard is spectacular.
He's got a great beard. So,
Great beard.
If you judge people by that, right, which I think
Most of us do, let's face it.
yeah, let's face it. But I heard he got a transplant, so maybe not so much.
He 100%. That skin don't look that smooth at that age, dude. My skin is wrinklier than his.
No, I mean he got like a hair transplant also.
Oh, hair transplant. I thought he got like
grown out
Botox.
his hair. No, I don't know if he's gotten like if he's just grown out his hair and he does like a
I think Modi's skin routine needs to be out there. I feel like he's doing something.
Oh, dude, I would love to see it. Like, I don't know what he's using because it looks crazy. Like he glows.
He does glow. He does glow. I think that's part of the appeal, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, good. Please, if Rahul Gandhi could only get the skincare routine of Modi, but he's focused on. So it's really a battle between Rahul Gandhi's abs and Narendra Modi's hairline and skin. I think if you look at all elections in this manner, no, I think things become a lot easier. So what does Arvind Kejriwal have? He has like
He's got a great hairline.
He's got a great comb over.
Yeah, he
like,
does.
He has the most babu bureaucrat.
Yeah. Decent mustache also. Like it's very neat.
It's very neat. If you've noticed, it's almost a Hitler mustache. It's a little too short, but just long enough for it to not be a Hitler mustache.
See, I would disagree there because like that's the most common man mustache ever. Like if you had to describe Arvind Kejriwal to a police sketch artist, he'll do a sketch and you'll probably say, yeah, that looks like him. But if you go on or to Bombay ke local train mein jayega, to you'll find like 20 people looking like him in the first class.
Correct.
Like wearing formals with that thin rectangular mustache, wearing like specs.
It's
Decent
also
hairline also.
Which also goes to tell about society because most Indian fathers are Hitler. Like they do believe in dictatorships a lot. So that is true. Anyway, I think that is enough for this topic.
Yeah, in conclusion, Ghulam Nabi Azad needs a more updated name.
Yeah, basically that. So anyone who can help with that, I've heard Yogi Adityanath is really into names, so maybe he can help him out. But satire,
mast ho gaya.
All right, so that was episode 1 of BORED-GEOISIE. I had a lot of fun. Shaunak, did you enjoy this?
I loved it. I had a lot of fun, and it was a great experience.
It was a great experience. Okay. So thank you guys for listening to episode 1 of BORED-GEOISIE. That was it for the first episode. And we'd really like for you guys to tell us if you like what this was. Because at Discontent, we've so far only done movies. And we don't like to poke our nose in politics. And we like to stay in our lane. But this is us sort of, trying to veer a little bit outside. So tell us what you think. And Shaunak, do you have anything to say to our audience?
Yeah, we're all trying to learn in our own manner. So if you think there's any place where you can correct us, where we went wrong, or there's anything more you'd like to hear from us or see being discussed on the podcast, just let us know. Drop a comment below.
Yeah, do that. And if there's any objection to anything, then go fuck yourself, first of all. And second of all, don't send an FIR. Just dislike it. Like it or dislike it. Just do that. Don't be a dick. And thank you all for listening. And this is episode 1. Do subscribe to the channel on Discontent on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud or Google Podcasts, then do rate us over there and like the podcast and do share it with your friends if you enjoy it. Thank you very much. And that was it for episode 1 of BORED-GEOISIE.